welcome back. I'm David. I'm gonna just give you an introduction today because I'm about to run out of sunlight, and I prefer to do this during the day. The challenge that I'm about to take on, it terrifies me because usually it doesn't end well for me. If I don't grow them from corm, they tend to die when I transplant them. Even my easier ones, my colocasias, when I put them in the garden last year, they didn't do great. They started to throw in a fit. But I learned something. I left them there, and I keep treating them. I saw that some of them may have like a sign of life, or I didn't know what was going on. And guess what? This spring, they all came out of the ground with a with fury. I'm gonna show you right now. You can see a little bit of what is the colocasia going on in the garden right now. It's crazy, and I absolutely love it. But it happens sometimes again with my alocasias, especially the jewel type. They tend to once I move them around, I change the soil, they just freaking die. Now, for example, this one, I had this one with this single leaf. It has had this is a Maharani. It has have that single leaf for 8 months, 9 months, the same leaf for that long. And I just move it. It was down here, and last week I moved it over there to that table because I put it together with these other ones, and it threw a fit. It got all crappy, and I'm looking to see if it has any pests, but I don't see any pests per se. But it's alive, so I'm most likely gonna possibly throw this in a put him in a prop box and try to save it. And because the other maharani that I have that is doing fine, but it's not growing crazy either, is inside of one of my terrariums. I'm also going to try to get a shot of that. It's kind of growing clumpy because the other plants are also exploding and trying to push. I need to do that, reset the whole terrarium into a bigger one that I got, and that's also like an episode on its own. I did a mellow by itself on a no drain vase with leca on the bottom and then sphagnum moss on top, considering that that's what worked for the Friday really well. And I tried another couple that you probably saw on a previous episode that I did the same thing. I tried to save a Jacqueline, and I put in two different settings. So far, I'm going to show you a little update of that later in this episode. So far, not doing so well. But I learned to be patient. So I'm not going to toss them. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm just going to leave them there and let it be. If they rot to death, they rot to death. But there's a chance, in my belief, that if I don't touch them and I let them adjust to the whole new setting and everything, they might come back to life. Now, I have here, like I said, this Maharani. Um, I'm gonna do this on this episode, and then I'm gonna do smaller ones in a different episode that I have grown from corm, and they have gone through different things, and they're still small. So I'm gonna do the small ones uh, in a different episode. But this one will be the smallest one here. I have here the one that been the most challenging in my experience, which is the silver dragon. Then I have this Bisma platinum or Alocasia platinum or Alocasia something dragon, but I don't know what's the name of this. Then I have one of my actually favorite here. The actual name is Mellow, and this is such a beautiful plant, and I really don't want to mess with it, but I know that this soil that it's in it's not going to work for too long. And last but not least, yes, this is the plant of my logo. This is a scalprum. And according to other growers, this is supposed to be a really easy one. Now, what I see the problem here is that this medium that it's in is that fibrous type of peat moss or coco peat that I actually hate because it's very fibrous. It tangles too much with the root system. Then I'm gonna do another episode with the ones that are a little bigger, talking about like a Tigrina, a Longilova, a um, Ivory Coast, and a Pink Dragon in a different episode. But this is what I'm going to be addressed in this episode. Now I'll give you this preview because I'm running out of sunlight, so it's going to be tomorrow. And what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to remove all the soil, harvest the corn, label them, and put them in appropriate propagation boxes, and then have them ready by the time that I'm shooting tomorrow. So for me, tomorrow. For you is now. This one has been in soil. This is um, they used to be called fried egg, but the fried egg is the actual variegated version of this. This is the name you can see it on the screen right now. And I thought it was a goner, and because I left it outside in the winter, and that's when I got sick, and the foliage dropped off, and I completely forgot about it. But when I found it, I just put it in a grow box, and here it is. Now, if anyone knows what this is, because I have looked and looked for pests, but there's nothing. And this happened with other of my alocasias too, like even with the regal. I also get the same issue when they're growing in the propagation box. Doesn't happen with the others, but it happens with the regal and this one. Now, if you know what it is, please let me know down in the comments. So with this, I'm gonna keep it simple, but you can see it's quite root bounded. It's probably even like the original soil that I came in because I didn't hide it for too long. I'm just gonna gently try to remove as much as I can, but without stressing too much the root system, because we know alocasias are really picky to be bothered with. There's even like other forms here. There are having a grow point like on the side, so it's gonna be bursting even more. But I'm not gonna try. There's another grow point right there on the main corm, but I'm not gonna try to harvest anything except that something falls out. Yeah, this definitely is the original soil that it came in. I don't remember where I got it, but I can see those green fertilizing balls or doom balls as I call them. I don't trust them for some reason. Whenever I have got a plant that is loaded with those, it's always a goner. Even a palm this year, it decayed so quick, and I was able to return it, but when I when I look up the root system, it was just covered with those balls. The reason that is suspicious to me is because I have never seen fertilizer for growers or like in any retail or greenhouse or anything for sale that is that color. So it's suspicious that only uh, mass growers will get access to that. Don't you think that if it's such a good fertilizer, should be available for sale and for everyone? But that might be just a conspiracy theory. Now, the good thing is, like, I believe this is coco coir, which is better when it comes to hydrophobia than peat moss. All right, so this is gonna go back in soil. I just want to put like my chunky mix in here, but I'm trying to remove, because as you can see, like the roots start growing like around the base and then start to like curling around. They don't get into the middle of. Now I confess, I've said this before, alocasias are not my strong suit. um, they tend to die on me. I tend to kill them, either or. I was surprised when these two came back, because this one and the fried egg was the same situation. They were down to like no leaves. Probably was, I think they were both out here. And here doesn't get very cold, but still it's too cold for them. And they went into dormancy. Thankfully, I didn't toss them out. But I got the fried egg. I got it on. I was looking at a Sydney plant guide. If you don't, you probably know him. That's the name of his channel. His name, I believe, is John or John, but I might be butchering it. I saw a video of his when he mentioned that the game changer was for the fried egg was to change the mix and put them in a no drainage with a base of leca and the rest with sphagnum moss. So use the leca as drainage and as a reservoir, and the sphagnum moss is as medium. So like they're healthy roots coming out. So like I don't like that. Even that they're unraveling, they tend to get a little pissed when you mess up with the root system. So, but I want to give them the chance to get access to the nutrients that they need. Sometimes like just getting the skewer in and just wiggle it a little bit, that will produce a break in the block, and then with a little tap it comes out a lot easier. And some of the plants that are not as delicate, like I will use a shower setting on the hose and give it like a good heat with the water, because the roots don't quite, though will not quite break, but it will soften the all this medium easier and wash it off at the same time. So I wanted to get to here because as I guess there's a cork. Hey corks with a passion. You know what corks are? A mix of peat moss or maybe cocoa coir in this case. And this was told to me by a grower. An adhesive, some sort of adhesive that I don't know what's the point of it. But when we transfer this to a chunky media, this cork will get absolutely completely bone dry, and it's actually become an actual cork. You can put it in a bottle and block the water or the wine to come out. I don't understand. If there's any grower that is watching this and you know what's the point of these corks, because they're not easy to remove either without damaging the root system. It's just, I don't know, another conspiracy theory of mine, because it's just wrong. Now, if there wasn't a cork, I wouldn't have dig as deep, but I was hoping, I thought that maybe because it came back there was no cork, but the reason that I had it on the prop box, it had consistent humidity throughout, so the cork didn't dry out. But now that I'm going to change the mix, if I don't take it out, it will dry out and it might kill the plant. It will produce, as we know, dry rot, which is basically the plant suffocating due to the lack of water. Because if indeed we need oxygen to flow in the soil, one thing is oxygen, a very different things are air pockets, or in this case, a casing that is water repellent. It will basically choke the plant to death. Because once that corks dry out, even if these roots are getting moisture and nutrition, when it gets to the part of the cork, there's no passing that because the cork is repelling water. Because once the cork is free, the little bits are not a problem anymore, even if they get dry out. But they're smaller, so even being water repellent, being smaller, they're easier to rehydrate than being like a cork size of a plug.
How do you expect me to grow if you won't let me blow? Okay, that's enough.
Much better, isn't it? I have dirt all over me, but like the root breakage was minimum. I just got that big one that I showed earlier. The other ones are very, very fine. All the roots are great. Like there's no rotting or any pathogen, like anything. So I believe that's been the reason for this plant to be coming back from dormancy as strong as it did. It was a complete surprise. I just like open the prop box. I take a look at the most like every once a week, check the water level, and to check if there's any of them that are touching the lid. On a different episode, I'm gonna do a prop box chapter. Also not my specialty. I just learned a little bit about them from other growers, other content creators. With this out of the way, what I'm gonna do is like I have some sphagnum moss in there. I'm gonna move to this one. Now this one has been growing in this container with a reservoir, but these roots are basically water roots, aren't they? Now I have here just regular chunky mix. So even with this chunky mix, this has been always I'm trying to keep the water level up to here. So this one has been always on the wet side. So I'm not afraid to pass this to the moss with the leca in the bottom. But we're gonna remove this. This one got treated last week for mealybugs. They were like all concentrated in the base here. So what I do for that is like I mix water and alcohol in equal parts, and then I spray the plant fully, let it sit for like about 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and I rinse it off afterwards. And this is a cutting. You can see it right here. See the cut? It's not a corm. Probably another reason why it's been doing so well. But at the same time, it doesn't. With the amount of light that it gets and the amount of nutrition that it gets, it should have gotten a lot bigger. But I believe that my problem here is that I don't have enough. Because even right now, we're like July, the first week of July, and it's 71 degrees. And I'm not complaining because I don't like the super hot summer. It'll get a little hotter in the next couple of weeks, but it doesn't get unbearable here. Reason that I moved here. If I was in Dallas, I would be like suffocating. My last summer in Dallas, between between July and August, there were more than 22 consecutive days with over 100 degrees. I couldn't keep anything outside. Like they're like even succulents and cacti were getting scorched because like they're small. Like if your succulents are bigger, are adults, they can take that. Okay. Making sure that so not being any issue with it. Usually like if there was any type of issue, I would rinse this off. But like I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just gonna move into the mix that I have, the vessel that I have, which is this one right here. So I bought an allocation in this container that I put it on another clip that I just did. I have it on a short actually because I changed the vessel for a bigger one, and the same thing like it was slick on the bottom and sphagnum moss on the rest. It didn't come with an ID, so I have to look what is because it's a big rhizome or corm that is like this long, and it has like a few leaves coming out of there, and they're not elongated, they're quite heart shaped. But look it up, and if you know the idea of it, just let me know in the comments. All right, so here I have the amount of leca for this. I'm probably gonna add a little extra. All right, so here I have the right amount of leca for the variegated Odora or Don, and here's my soil for the non-variegated fried egg. So let's start with this one. So I'm gonna do the same that I do even with my philodendrons. I'm gonna add a little bit of a base to the bottom of the vessel or the pot. Now with that done, I'm gonna add a pinch of mycorrhizae, pinch of diatomaceous earth or DE, just a pinch of slow release fertilizer, just as an extra or when I don't use nutritious water, and a bit of earthworm castings. Now with that Then I'm just gonna place it. I'm gonna drop it in, but not quite, because like I want the plant to sit a little higher, and I want the roots to be spread down into the vessel and not crushed. So that corm is separated, but I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna like leave it right there. If you're interested in knowing what is my aeroid mix, is on my playlist for mixes. So I have one mix for aeroids and another one for aeroids on moss balls. Now this is what I do with basically like all my plants. There aren't any type of like chunky mix. These other materials are like earthworm castings, especially the diatomaceous earth that is such a fine powder, and the inoculant mycorrhizae are so fine that if you just put them in the mix of the soil, when you move the box, when you for medium or for the mix, all those small particles or those small ingredients start to fall to the bottom of the box. That means that at some point you end up with none of those benefits in the top of the box, and they're all concentrated in the bottom, which is not good either way. So I'd rather add them as I plant. The good thing about clear pots is that you can see how the medium is adjusting, and if there's air pockets, you can use a skewer as well to make sure that that air pocket disappears. With chunky mix, that's normal. Like you can see right there, all the fine particles, and this is none of those things that I just mentioned. This is just from the mix alone. Just from scooping that from the back into that, all the small things fell like immediately to the bottom of it. So if you scoop in directly from the big box, you're not gonna get any of those small particles into into your pot. All right, so this is done. This is gonna go in that planner. I'll show you in a minute. And now let's start with this. So for this, I have a little bit of this mix right here, which is this is for terrariums or vivariums. It's a very fine mulched sphagnum moss. So it's between the peat moss and the sphagnum moss. The benefit of this is that it doesn't cling onto the roots like regular moss does, and it's also less less prone to get completely hydrophobic. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes with continuous updates and the rest of the repots. Thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe, comment, drop a like, and share for the future of this channel. I'll talk to you in the next one.